Hello, this is Louis Mihael,
And this is Gabrielle Christensen, your co-host.
and welcome to the podcast. Welcome back to another episode.
Welcome back. Glad to have you back.
There was actually a lot of big news about Microsoft's Surface Duo was announced.
Oh yeah, the phone that I had future vision about.
I mean, it was actually announced last year, but yeah, you said that, then they announced it like a week or something that it's coming out. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
I might make the switch from Samsung to Microsoft depending on what the reviews are and what the asking price is for it.
It'd be $1,500.
Never mind, I'm gonna stick with my Samsung for a while.
Samsung is not much cheaper.
Nah, but
buy like 100. Just cough up to 100.
You know where we live at?
Huh?
I said you know where we live at. Cough up 100.
But yeah, the only thing, like, it is like 2 years old specs, but it's not bad. I mean, that's what you got in your Note 9 right now.
Yeah, it still runs pretty good, I would say.
Yeah, and then I still had my iPhone XS. That's 2 years old. I'm sure it would run good now, but someone stole it, and I never could get it back.
Stole your phone?
Yeah, did I tell you about that?
I think we might have talked about that last episode, maybe before.
I don't think I said on the podcast. But yeah, when I was working at General Mills,
Yeah.
someone stole my phone out of the supervisor's office. Yeah.
Sounds like a shitty supervisor.
But they wasn't in there or anything. But
Should lock their office.
there's no door to lock. Yeah, it's really weird. Like, where it's placed at is actually in the hallway, where for you to go from the front office to the back, that's where it's all at. But there's no doors right there. Like the door that goes from the office to the back into the production area, where you had to have your car key or whatever. So so anyone coming through those doors, it's like right there. His desk is right there. So yeah. It just pissed me off because like it was the ones when I first told them like, hey, I can't find my phone. Like, they at first trying to help me like to find it and stuff, and then they told me like, well, just tomorrow file a police report and then go from there. Well, I did, and I called them, let them know that I did, and they just like, oh well, that's not our responsibility. We are not reliable on your phone. I'm like, okay, I know this say you was, and like I don't know, it just. Like, hey, you guys told me to do this. I did it. Now I'm telling you all. The police said they was going to come by and look at the tapes because they got security, cameras around. So most likely it would have Paulson stole it on camera, stealing it, which they did end up finding. It did. Cops didn't find it because they didn't go there to look at the tapes. But yeah.
Stupid. It sounds like they probably talked to somebody else and was like, yeah, I just told them to, file a police report. Oh, no, don't do that. It's not what we're supposed to do. It's not company policy.
And I was like really confused. They told me that I got rolled up. I'm like, oh, well, what did I do wrong? Oh, you didn't do nothing wrong. I'm like, then why was I getting written up? And like, oh no, you getting written up because how good you are. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. I was like, yeah, this show the manager that you've been doing a good job and that you get achievement. That you can go to a website, your own little personal employee's website, and get little like achievement stuff and little medals and stuff, just like in video games.
Yeah.
Get achievement once you get to a milestone.
So say it almost sounds like a Sith reward. Congratulations, you got a write-up.
I was like, oh, I was so confused. I'm like, man, I was the one doing the write-ups, but I didn't do nothing because the one didn't get fired.
Yeah, know that all too well.
But yeah, the Surface Duo, and it's so cool because it's like two phones into one. So you have your iPhone Max or your Samsung Galaxy Note. It's about that size, a little bit wider, about the same height, and it just has a hinge that can go like 360 and stuff, and it's really cool.
I'm sure Samsung's probably pissed about that, 'cause what was it, Samsung Flip?
Yeah, they got the flip in the phone, so this is more like the phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, I think this is way better than the phone. It looks a lot better. Can't get clay in it, or anything in it. And you can, it does work with any of the Microsoft pens. Use it to draw on. Which is another big announcement. Clip Studio Paint is finally on Android, or at least on Samsung phones and Android tablets and stuff. They doing like a special. Most likely it'd probably be on there for like it's just a time exclusive, but it'd probably be about 6 months to start going out on the others phones.
That's pretty cool.
Since like the Note and the Samsung tabs, I think the newest is Tab 7 Plus, and they all have pretty good pens on them, so that'd be pretty cool.
If I could do anything better than Microsoft Paint, I would be interested in doing a review on it, but I can't, so.
I already did a review. But for the regular Clip Studio Paint. But what's really cool about Clip Studio Paint that is on Windows, Macs, the iPad, the iPhone, now the Samsung, it's all the exact same. It's like typically most programs like Photoshop. Like Photoshop is badass on PC and Macs, like computer, but when you get to the iPad and stuff, it's just shit. Because they just so many features on there that's not even on there. Where Clip Studio Paint is way better than Photoshop for drawing, and most professionals use Photoshop and have been kind of slowly going to Clip Studio Paint. Here you can do all the stuff on there on your phones and your tablets, but somehow Photoshop can't do it.
Of course not. They want to charge you for those extras eventually, right? I guess they don't even want to do that because they don't even bother to update it, do they?
No, they don't. They hardly update it. That's why a lot of people switch to other stuff, like Clip Studio Paint, because all the updates and new features and stuff are very few and far in between. And here you are. If you just get in Photoshop, you paying like $10 a month. It ain't bad at all, but I mean, you paying $10 a month, and it's ain't really updating that much. It's not getting new features all that much. So what's the point? And before you just pay it outright, and you can have it forever.
Yeah.
So I mean, so if it didn't update or anything, you still had it. Here it's like it doesn't update and no new features, and you still gotta pay.
I do hate that new, because a lot of things are doing that where they're like, oh, you just pay monthly, or you have a yearly subscription renewal, and it's like, well, I'd rather buy a version and have it work and then upgrade when I'm ready to in a couple years. But
well, Clip Studio Paint for mobile, like the phone and tablets, you do have to pay a subscription, but it's only like you get the light version is $25 a year, and then the big version, the pro version or whatever, is only $80 a year. So still way cheaper than what Photoshop or any Adobe stuff.
yeah, by about $40 sounds like.
So I mean, to me, if you are a professional, that's no big deal.
Does Clip Studio Paint allow you to transfer to a PDF format?
Yeah, they can do everything that Photoshop does, other than like the actual photo editing stuff. There's some photo editing stuff, but it's because it's a drawing program, it just mostly focuses on that. But all the drawing aspects are way better than what Photoshop is. It's just Photoshop been around for since 90s, like early 90s, and I think they had maybe a version kind of like Photoshop and just wasn't called Photoshop back in the 80s. We kind of mentioned about the new Samsung Tab 7 Plus.
Yeah.
Supposed to be like thong answering to the iPad Pro, and it's like way more powerful and all these new pro features. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Now that you got Clip Studio Paint, now you don't have to pay like $1,000 to get an iPad Pro to get a tablet to do it. Now you can pay $800 to get.
Unless Samsung gets wise and they're like, we can charge as much as Apple now, it doesn't matter. They usually do that, it seems like.
Yeah.
I say the most exciting thing that happened to me so far is the update for Fate Grand Order and their 11 million campaign. Yeah, download campaign. It's just a waifu thing, alright. A great anime to check out is the Reverse Harem anime. All you chicks out there, dudes are into reverse harems. My next life as a villainess. Pretty funny. It's gonna.
So another thing like Sword Art Online, where they go into a kind of like a medieval fantasy type thing, swords. And,
There was sword fighting. It was a medieval fantasy high school type thing. It's Jieson, about a otaku who dies and she gets reincarnated as a villainess in a Atami dating game.
that genre of anime is just it just bombed out. It's like Sword Art Online. That was good enough.
Inuyasha.
We didn't need all the other 1,001 that was rip-offs of that.
Definitely don't need ones that are the exact rip-offs where you have a character that looks just like Kirito walking around and you're like, what?
Yeah, I remember seeing a ad for like Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
And I really thought it was an ad for like Sword Art Online, and like it shows the name and stuff, and I'm like, oh, did it look like just like Kirito? The chick looked like Asuna, and it's like, oh, it's a different anime. They just look all the same.
Yeah, there was one that was about some guy who got reincarnated, and he was some big business executive, so they kind of mixed Overlord and, I'll remember it, Tanya, the super evil chick from World War II, that timeline, and ReZero, because they had a girl in there that looked just like Rem from ReZero, and some evil, grumpy executive guy gets reincarnated, and I was like, what? This is just a blatant ripoff. 3 different stories, but okay.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen a good anime.
I mean, I just saw good animes, but I'm easy to entertain.
Another thing that happened in the tech world, Apple updated their 27-inch iMac, had a better processor, better graphics card in there, and it did updated the webcam, the built-in webcam to HD webcam. Yay.
So now the government can spy on you in high definition.
Yep.
You still have to buy the stand?
No, this is iMac. This comes with the stand. This is an all-in-one.
Oh, okay. For your
So-
Apple illiterate folks.
But it's kind of cool. There was a lot of rumors going around that there's going to be a new complete redesign of the iMac, and there was rumors that a new iMac is coming out soon, and get that, and it's like it looks the same as it always did. And some people was kind of disappointed in that. And, of course, everyone kind of wished that Apple would even bet on webcam on there. Having the HD is a lot better than what they did have, because they had what all the YouTubers call it, a potato cam, basically. And kind of like how I was saying about the MacBook Pro 16-inch, had a like professional microphone in there, or professional speakers in there, yet they still had a shitty webcam. It's like, well, that would have been the perfect YouTube on, or whatever, laptop. If you had 4K webcam on there, you can record, have a professional recording, video recording, have a professional microphone, professional speakers all built in, and then you have a powerful computer, way more than powerful enough for you to record YouTube videos. It's gonna be expensive one way or another, because it's Apple. They always expensive. It would be cheaper to get the computer than buying all of that stuff separate.
Yeah.
But
One
yeah,
step at a time.
yeah, and maybe when they switch to their own processors, they might be doing that. But we haven't heard any news about that since the Apple's keynote a couple months ago. Don't know.
Pandemics slowed down a lot of that stuff for one reason or another, as far as production goes.
There was thing really interesting. Samsung, they actually were the ones that symbols the the displays on iPhones.
Yeah.
And they built it to the blueprints of what Apple gives them. But it's there's been rumors, one guy would say oh, new iPhones 12 won't have 120 refresh rate, which is what the new Note that just came out has. It's like, wait a minute, how can Samsung have it on their phone but Apple can't? Because they said that they ran out. It was I just thought that was kind of funny that they got into their own phones, but it was like, oh no, sorry Apple, we ran out.
Priority first, we're number one.
And it's just like how my sister would be like, oh, let me get a drink, and she sits there and drinks it all down. It's like, and I don't have nothing to drink. She got a cut today. There was apparently off cart hide and seek.
That sounds like an awful idea.
So I guess they went and parked the golf cart somewhere and went and hide, and then they fell Paulson on the golf cart, found them, but they ran back, and when she jumps up on there and hits one of the bars on the golf cart and cut off like right here on the eye.
That's what she gets for not going to the movies with us.
Yeah.
Was karma getting her back?
But she wanted to go to camp.
Get attacked by a golf cart.
Yeah.
I really thought you were going to say that was a lot different. Like, I imagined a go-kart situation. Everyone was in their golf cart hiding with the golf cart. Someone else would find them, try to tag them with their golf cart. It would have been a cart-on-cart massacre.
My aunt and uncle, they keep setting up these trends. Like, everyone, at one point, like, no one had any type of golf carts or anything. They did. My uncle had a moped. He always drove around, and a year after him, you see another guy have a moped riding around, and after that, you see everyone riding around the moped. And they at the resort they camped at, they abandoned it because everyone was going off the road and into the grass and everything, messing it all up. So they abandoned it, and so my uncle ended up getting a golf cart. He had a golf cart. Then next year, another guy had a golf cart. And now everyone has a golf cart, and they do like golf cart parades. It's like, this is stupid.
Now, what they should mimic your aunt and uncle on for Halloween, your aunt always bakes cookies. So everyone at that camp should make like a homemade treat for Halloween.
She baked cookies.
Yeah, last year she baked cookies.
Something like that.
Cookies or brownies, something like that. Pretty sure it was cookies though.
Maybe. I don't know. I think we can go to the topic.
Sounds good.
All right, let's go to topic. So we went to watch a new movie that came out in theaters.
Just yesterday, in fact, The New Mutants.
The New Mutants. Finally, after numerous reshoots, delays, and release dates pushed back, we have finally gotten the 20th Century Fox last X-Men movie, The New Mutants, directed and co-written by Josh Boone, based off the New Mutant comics. The New Mutant film is a standalone spin-off in hopes of expanding the universe of the X-Men franchise.
It was pretty neat because this film had a fairly known group but a lot of young talents such as Alice Braga, Charlie Heaton, Lou Hunt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Macy Williams, and Henry Zaga.
This X-Men spin-off film started off well and progressed with a slow burn. Most modern horror films nowadays also starts off with this slow burn. The film's slow burn does to help to set up each of the new mutants' backstories. Although it does feel a lot of these parts was cut from the movie, it also didn't help the film that it felt way too short. I think it was like hour and a half at the top.
Yeah, that.
It was really short because I remember we started at like 7:20 and we was getting out there before 10.
Yeah, no,
It was around 9.
Yeah, it was right at 9:15, I think, when we got out.
Because I think we was back home by 10.
Yeah.
Again, the short length of the film does go in line with most horror films again nowadays. The horror aspect of the New Mutants was a little lacking. There was some rumors that this theatrical version is the Disney version, which would explain why there wasn't as much horror in the movie.
I distinctly remember from the Comic-Con panel that they were showing the previews, and there was a part in the previews, I swear, that had these faces pushing through the walls of one of the rooms for the girls. And there was a bunch of other horror aspects that were jump cut with that preview. That wasn't in the movie. It was kind of like there was a horror movie that came out in the early 2000s about some kid who, this family had lost their son, and then their they got him cloned pretty much. And in the previews for that film, there was these really horrific elements, like the kid was misformed and stuff, and one thing when she went downstairs to check on him, that was also never in that film. That's kind of what the New Mutants was like. Seemed like there was a lot of horror elements that were in the previews that just weren't in the movie.
Yeah, I think one thing I did hear about it was like it's actually not Disney version. This is 20th Century Fox original cut of it. But like after seeing like this was just the rough cut, and after seeing what the director was wanting to do, they saw the potential of it being more of a horror film. So they went back, and this when they started doing the reshoots and add more of that stuff into it. But I guess when Disney bought out 20th Century, they went back to the original or false cut because it wasn't as dark. Disney all about family movies. So
really hope that doesn't predict the future of that Hulu release for was it Hellstrom? It's going to be coming out for Hulu. That's a Marvel property, but they removed all Marvel marketing because it's supposed to be really horrific and stuff.
Yeah. More
so horrific anyway. More edgy and dark. So I hope this doesn't prelude to what Hellstrom will end up turning into.
Yeah, I think that would be more or less kind of like supernatural. I mean, it wasn't really scary. I mean, some of those episodes was kind of creepy. I don't think it's gonna be anything scary or horror. I mean, there's gonna be horror stuff into it because it's Hellstorm. What is it called?
Yeah, Hellstrom.
Yeah, but yeah, the hero on that is actually the son of Satan. So I guess that's why Disney don't have the name on it. I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. Like, still, like, I don't see why Marvel name had to been off that. They didn't really put the whole name on here either on the New Mutants.
No.
I mean, they kind of like in association with Marvel, and that was it. They didn't. There was no Disney or nothing.
They didn't even have Fox and 20th Century logo. I noticed that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when that started, but they didn't have 20th Century Fox. It's just 20th Century.
Yeah, I remember hearing something about they was going to be changing the name just a few weeks ago. But yeah. So the New Mutants, the story starts with Danielle or Danny being awakened by her father from her sleep with fire, snow, and a roaring wind. Father leads them into the woods to hide in the hollow of a tree. Soon she sees a fellow Native American community destroyed. She starts to run and unfortunately she falls. Waking up next morning, Danny finds herself chained to a bed in a place that looks like an insane asylum. Here she meets a lab coat wearing doctor named Sylvia. The doctor explained to her she has been taken to a hospital to learn and control her late mutant powers. So yeah, I think if you liked any of the other the False Class trilogy of the X-Men, probably will like this one. You know, some people say like it was way better than like Dark Phoenix and stuff. I kind of like Dark Phoenix a little bit better. Think about match.
I'd have to say I'm a little bit on the opposite. I like both of them. I'd say this one held my attention a little bit more than Dark Phoenix did.
It's like a lot of the people they're saying this is like the worst X-Men movie and stuff, and like it was never trying to be the best X-Men movie or superhero movie or any movie. It was just something new, a different take on something that everyone likes, you know. It was never meant to impress anyone.
I don't know how it would have been the worst. I mean, like the acting and everything, I had to say was pretty good. Yeah, I didn't have any complaints. I didn't think
it was just only like really if you nitpicking. There was a few times here and there that I thought was bad.
One of the characters had an accent at first that really threw me.
Macy Williams.
You know what? They all did start off with like a weird accent almost, kind of. But then about halfway through the movie, they figured out how to tone it down, kind of.
Yeah,
more
especially with Ilanya, the one with the dragon.
Yep.
Yeah, that false accent was pretty thick and it's kind of hard to understand that false.
Yeah, a guy who had the whooshing power, where he could jump real fast, go real fast.
Yeah.
Whatever, his power wasn't really explained too much.
Yeah.
But his heavy southern accent was pretty humorous at first, I thought, but they, like I said, he kind of softened halfway through the movie. They kind of
Yeah, that's one thing they didn't really explain a lot of in detail each of the pounds that much. And like I said, like it felt like something there would have been scenes about it, but it got cut out. And that's why the movie was so short.
definitely agree with you there.
I'm sure that like once we get to like the DVD movie of the movie, probably gonna be a lot of deleted scenes, and like someone could easily add them back in and probably be a better movie.
Yeah, because was it Alanya we were saying? Her backstory was kind of the only one that was really...
Didn't really explain anything.
Yeah, but hers at least explained more than everyone else's. Everyone else got a little bit of a snippet, but hers was more hinted at, I think. But she also had more of a... The events that happened to her, trying to be spoiler free here, the events that happened to her, they kind of played more into the finale. So you got more of her backstory, because they probably couldn't necessarily cut those out, since it seemed like they were trying to dummy down on some of the horror elements. I don't know, all in all, I thought it was a pretty good movie. It's the end of a era.
Yeah, I think this was supposed to have been like a start for a new trilogy, new spin-off trilogy of an X-Men. Kind of like how Dark Phoenix was actually supposed to have been. That was supposed to have been this false movie of a new trilogy.
I think you were saying earlier that they were supposed to kind of cross over at points too.
Probably.
But you could see kind of the setup in both, how that would end up happening if you were to continue on, but unfortunately it's not.
I think they could have actually get into Logan as well, the Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
When the kids has like a vision and you see like all these like little kids, these mutants being tortured at some hospital or whatever, and when I saw that, that reminds me a lot of Lauren, the Wolverine's like daughter, whatever, where she came from. So that probably ties into that.
Man, that would have been a really good setup too.
Just had these kids as the Lauren as the new Wolverine. Now she's with them, and so that'd be kind of cool new trilogy of these new mutants.
You could have the stakes already set up for Lauren being high to defeat the bad guys, get her revenge, and things that could have been.
Yeah, once again, Disney franchise.
Kind of reminds me of the Disney World and Kingdom Hearts. Every single Kingdom Hearts game, they're obligated to play out the Disney World pretty much the exact same way the movie plays out. Your characters are just kind of in there watching everything happen. But Disney does that, seems like, with movies and stuff they touch. It's like, well, gotta play by our rules. Hee.
I've been seeing a lot of like critics. A few critics actually did go out and watch it. A lot of them said they refused to go watch it because of the virus and stuff. But almost every single one of them hated this film, and I thought that was kind of funny because like normally these mainstream critics, they all love the feminist stuff, like strong independent lead female movies. Well, this did have a strong independent female lead who was also Native American, and she was a lesbian. And that goes perfect with what they always love, but for some reason they just hate the X-Men.
If 20th Century Fox has their name on it anyway.
Yeah,
you're right, because you had even your cast was more female than male too, this movie. And none of your women really played damsels in distress, so
no,
they didn't smack you over the head with it either.
No.
Was it Dark Phoenix that had some kind of weird... Yeah, Dark Phoenix had that shoehorned in, well, I'm a woman, I don't need to be rescued. They didn't have to say that here. They just...
What was like, she was like, we should change this to the X-women, because there's always the women saving everyone after they, fly up into space to save the astronauts.
Yeah.
Just going back and looking at them like, yeah, Jean Grey did something, but the rest of it was all the men. So, like, when did, when did women was the one saving everyone? It was just Jean Grey. She saved everyone, yeah. It wasn't women.
So?
To me, that just is Jennifer Lawrence. It's like, I want to, jump on the bandwagon, and all being such a big star now, she probably was able to get that permission to say something stupid like that.
Seeing if they were trying to really do a feminist arm, I don't know, in my mind you should have just been like, instead of calling this the X-Men, we should just call the X-Ray, because I run this place. Alright, go on.
I don't know, maybe I'm just biased because I have a crush on Sophie Toling, who plays Jean Grey, but I actually like the Dark Phoenix. I mean, I understand there's problems with it, but me, I just didn't really think it was any worse than most of the Disney Marvel films out there, because most of them was pretty mediocre anyways.
Yeah, I mean, you can say with the, I guess X-Men, I was gonna say you could say they did something a little different. New Mutants definitely did something a little more different.
One thing I like about these X-Men movies, the Lost Class trilogy, is that to me they had the same feeling or tones or what of them as the original comics was. And where to me it just like the Disney Marvel stuff, it just not a superhero movie. Yeah.
All I can think of is the Iron Man series now, and you're like, it's not the superhero. I'm like, man, they're definitely not as off the wall shit crazy as that original 90s series.
And like a lot of people didn't like the Dark Phoenix because it didn't follow, beat to beat of the comic, the panel to panel. And it's like, well, name me one Disney Marvel movie that did. You can't. Some of them was close, but it was all just loosely based off the original comic.
Well, it's like name any adaptation that does follow anything beat to beat. Things just don't translate from one.
Zack Snyder films that everyone hates.
Oh.
300, Watchmen. Okay, maybe that was all it, but then you got Robert Rodriguez, Sin City. That was pretty close. Even had the original comic book artist here co-directing with them. Everyone hated all of those films, and become like, oh, this movie sucked because it didn't follow the comic. Like when they did, y'all hated it, and when they don't, y'all still hated it. Just go back to your Disney Marvel mediocre films. But yeah, like I said, the New Mutants, I say if you like the False Class trilogy of the X-Men, I think you'll like this one. They said like maybe we'll get a director's cut on the DVD or something. That would be a battle. But I don't think Disney really does that, any director's cut.
I mean, as long as, Studios X are probably going to be scared about doing any kind of director's cuts for anything anymore. As we'll discuss in the news.
I think it's time for the news.
Sounds good. This month's edition of Geeking Around News, we fortunately have to inform you of the death of Mr. Chadwick Boseman. He had succumbed to colon cancer at the young age of 43. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family right now, and hopefully everyone's respecting their privacy through this difficult time. Chadwick is best known as his role that he did as T'Challa as Black Panther in Marvel Studios movies from there on. And I really don't know how they're going to be able to replace him because he was pretty iconic.
Yeah. He also did a lot of films too that was pretty iconic. His past films.
You seem like a great actor and a very warm personality.
Yeah, it just came to like pretty big blow. So I saw it as soon as we got back from the movies, and it was like the first thing I saw on my phone. Like, dang. Like, wow.
I can understand why you wouldn't want to tell, especially your fans and stuff, of your sickness and everything you're going through, because a lot of people are vicious, toxic, so.
Yeah, I remember seeing some people commenting on his how skinny he was getting, back like a year or so ago.
Yeah, well, some of the top YouTube searches was Chadwick Boseman losing weight. It's like, well, maybe don't try to critique somebody so hard when you don't know what's going on in their life. Again, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, and we'll all try our best to respect their privacy right now. The DC fandom event went on last weekend. It was loaded with tons of new information and bits. In fact, there was so much they had to split it up into two events. The next one coming out in September. It's going to be more of probably a traditional, what I think of when I go to like a Comic-Con or anime convention, with panels and interactions with audience and cosplays and stuff. Some of the highlights: the Wonder Woman 1984 is coming out on October 2nd in theaters.
I don't know. I mean, about that film. It's kind of like the false one. It was kind of good, but there was some problems with it. And this one seems like it's gonna be the exact same. And I just don't know about Tristan Wiggs being Cheetah. I just don't see it.
It's interesting to me that we didn't really see any previews for it last night at the movies either.
No, we didn't.
So it kind of surprised me it was coming out in October. I'm like, October this year? Yeah, apparently it is.
Yeah.
They have the Gothic Knights video game will be released in 2021. It's being done by WB Games Montreal. Seems pretty interesting. I know there was a notification tonight about, well, and I'm guessing it also happened last weekend. You're telling me they had a playthrough and stuff of the game.
Yeah, in the show, like Backarm and she and fighting Mr. Freeze. This one I was at pause when I first thought about there was gonna be a game called Gotham Knights, and you get to play like the Bat family, Nightwing, Tim Drake's Robin, Red Hood and stuff, and first Batgirl, and it's like, oh wow, that's really cool. And but come to find out that it wasn't in the Arkham Asylum universe of the game, so it's a whole different universe. I was kind of disappointed on that because I liked that universe. So kind of wish they stayed in that universe because like Batman did die in Arkham Knight, so it would make sense that now his sidekicks, his Bat family came out and now are protecting Gotham.
Yeah,
because there's still gonna be like bad guys out there, and now that Batman's dead, they probably gonna come out even more
at first anyway, and then they're gonna get their butt so thoroughly kicked they'll never come out again.
Yeah.
Although Rocksteady, the makers of the Batman Arkham Asylum version video games, is coming out with a Suicide Squad video game.
Yeah, Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. 'Cause, I guess like Brainiac possesses or mind controls the Justice League, and like Superman, like in the trailer we see Superman, and so they all killing people and stuff. So Suicide Squad has to go out and take them all out. This one is in that same Arkham universe, but it's not in Gotham. It's in Metropolis. So I mean, it's kind of cool to go into Metropolis, but I'm kind of like what everyone else when they heard that there was a Superman game. That this would, I think it got people. I think rumors of this got confused that there's a Superman game and actually just the Suicide Squad hunting down Superman. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to play as Superman in Metropolis and fighting crime, and fighting Lex Luthor and stuff, just like in the Arkham games.
They have really interesting plots for video games. It's a shame that they don't really use any more of those for movies, because I'm thinking the new Suicide Squad that's going to be done by James Gunn, it's going to be coming out in 2021, August 6, 2021. That's supposed to be, it confuses me. They're calling it just the Suicide Squad when it's supposed to be a sequel to the Suicide Squad that came out a couple years back.
I think actually this game is actually supposed to have been more tied with the Suicide Squad film. Rocksteady hasn't made a game like 7 years, so I think that it would be more with that one.
And now they're going to do kind of a remake, reboot, sequel.
Yeah.
Which I remember we were talking about the original Suicide Squad. I remember I was really hyped for it, and I went to the theaters, and it started out pretty great, but then when they got to the midpoint where they had to stop everything and give everyone a musical intro to modern pop songs, it kind of...
They made it just way too much like Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. So the brilliant minds at Warner Brothers said, let's do a reboot of it and get the James Gunn to direct on Guardians of the Galaxy. Once again, Warner Brothers, I think, I don't have any hope with the Suicide Squad movie. I think it's gonna be the same thing as last time.
I'll still go. Well, I say I'll see it. I don't know. I'll sit it kind of. Probably wait it out, maybe wait till a week after it's released and see what the reviews are on it or the trailers for it. Something that is hopefully going to be more in line with the comics is the Flash movie. It's been rumored it's been confirmed to be an adaptation of the Flashpoint storyline from the comic books, although they really haven't dropped an official title for it yet.
Yeah, one thing really cool about this, and think in the original comic, it was Aquaman versus Wonder Woman, and like the Atlanteans versus the Amazons. They was having an affair with each other, and like Wonder Woman ends up killing his wife.
Yeah.
And stuff, and so it started this whole civil war between the all the superheroes and stuff. I think this one, when this Flashpoint, is gonna be kind of going back to that scene from Batman vs Superman where Bruce Wayne has that dream of, they call it the nightmare dream, and where him and Superman are at war with each other, and they had their own soldiers and stuff. And he wakes up and there's the Flash seek out Lois and stuff, and that she was the key. But one really interesting about Flashpoint is that in this universe, Bruce Wayne is the one that gets shot and his parents live. And so Thomas Wayne becomes Batman and Martha Wayne actually becomes the Joker. So that was pretty cool, and there was a lot of rumors that was going to happen. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays Thomas Wayne on Batman vs Superman, like even tweeted a long time ago, like to the lady who I can't remember her name, played Martha Wayne, and like, Flashpoint, are you ready? You know, like, so that'd be kind of cool. I think he would be perfect as Thomas Wayne, Batman.
They give Batman a lot more reason not to kill the Joker too, other than just ruining his moral code. Because that Batman in the Flashpoint universe has no problem killing.
Yeah.
But kind of hard to kill your wife.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really cover many comic books that would be coming back out, but they did mention that Static will be coming back to comics in February 2021. I love that TV series, Static Shock, when I was younger.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too when I was a kid. I don't really know much about it though.
I do remember, I believe it was maybe his sidekick character Ronnie had a backpack. So either that, or I'm getting that confused with Kim Possible as far as the name, because he kind of looked like Ron, Stoppable from Kim Possible. Anyway, that side character had a backpack that came alive. See, started messing with technology. He was just a geek and messing with stuff, and he wanted to catch up to his friend. And I think there was an episode that involved Brainiac or something, because the technology he made was so advanced, had to stop it. Either way, I'm excited to see that come back.
Yeah. Which
I guess leads in with James Lee has denied the rumors that DC will not be publishing comic books anymore. With the coronavirus, everything's kind of slowed down, but he did say that everything that was greenlit before the epidemic started, that they're going to continue production on those, and that they have no plans of stopping production of comic books in the future. But they did kind of hint from his comments, it was more of a read between the lines, but that they try to get the most bang for their buck. So it sounds like they're going to be slowing down on paperback comic book productions, especially in certain countries. So I guess the more electronic access somebody has, the more they're going to push that instead. But for now, comic books will continue to be printed and published.
Yeah. One thing I think what they should do more, and they probably do this, I just don't see it, but like do more tie-ins with the movies and video games and stuff. I mean, like this is something that like would definitely been huge with the Marvel movies, like Avengers, but they look like actually like Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. Like they just put out the new Marvel Avengers video game. They don't look nothing like Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr. or Mark Ruffalo and Chris Hemsworth and stuff. So like if the characters look like that and have it like that, like I always loved reading like Lord of the Rings. Like I read more of the movie adaptation, like movie novel, and like I played the games like the Two Towers game and Return of the King game. So I think they should do more of that tie-ins to the movie, because I think more people are doing that, or a few people that are reading comics, or the ones that went out and watched the movies and then going back like, oh, I want to know more about it, and get the comics. And then you got your hardcore fans who did read the comics and go watch the movie, but there is no comics, that the movie is tied into with, then the game show fan won't go and read those comics.
Yeah, because eventually it doesn't matter how casual you are, you kind of get into it anyway. Like Transformers, I like the TV series, but after a lot of the TV series, Prime has a few, or not Amazon Prime, I was thinking Transformers Prime. Netflix has a couple series here and there. but they're more limited. So I got into reading the Transformers Lost Light comics just because I missed the publication and the franchise and stuff. So I agree, having your comic book continuations, your little side stories or something.
I remember they, like, with Batman, the animated series from the 90s, they had, I think it was called The Adventures of Batman, and I think that was tied in. It had the exact same art style and everything. I'm sure those comics were pretty popular. I think I even had a comic of that from back in the day. Did see, like, one YouTuber was talking about this and saying that the reason why it's not as much people buying comics, not so much that they don't buy prints or anything like that. It's just that a lot of these, like DC and Marvel, are putting out a lot of these SJWs comics or feminist comics, and none of them, SJWs or feminists really read comics. So
I mean, if you're attacking actively a percentage of your fan base, it's kind of hard to convince that fan base that they want to read your comics. Like Transformers Lost Light had some interesting concepts in there that were definitely more progressive, but it was done well because no one said, oh, you have to be like this is the proper way to be. If you're not like this, then you're a terrible person, go die in a ditch.
Yeah, that's like going back to Wonder Woman, the false film. Like, you never Holland, can't remember the actress' name, that plays Wonder Woman. She never went out on there and was like, oh, I don't want no white men watching my film. This is only for women. Like Brie Larson does with Captain Marvel stuff that just puts your audience out, like this.
It does, but apparently it helps you remember their name, though. But that isn't good for the company. I don't really know if that's good for the actor or actresses in the long run to hate on people.
Yeah.
They're not running for an election.
Yeah. Like Black Panther, like there was a little bit, but like never was like, oh well, this is a black superhero, no white people can watch it. No, they're like, I'm pretty sure there was a interview with Chadwick and Michael B. Jordan, both of them, like, oh, I cannot wait till you guys see this movie. Everyone's gonna love it. They didn't like just say like, oh, this is a movie only for black people, only for They was like, no, anyone can come watch it.
Yeah, that's how you do when you actually enjoy the product that you're putting out there. Actually care about your story more than just making it shocking or, hey, we're gonna do this because this is different or has been criticized before. I'd almost be like when they have the character Scarlet Witch, them being like, see, back in the 1800s she would have been burned on a stake. Nowadays it's okay. Everyone should embrace witchcraft.
How you Epstein stores selling rocks. That what witches do nowadays, don't they? They have their own little online store on
Etsy. I thought you said have Epstein in there selling rocks, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna. I mean, child predators are a marginalized group. Oh, that reminds me of Law and Order. There was an episode like that. They're like, well, back in the day, gay people used to be thrown into mental asylums to try to correct them. Do that now with child predators. Eventually, you'll stop. I'm like, thanks, Law and Order. That's forever burned into my head. I appreciate you doing that to me. I thought we were gonna go there. Someone who's not a child predator? Dwayne E. Johnson. Probably the worst lead-in ever.
Probably.
Rock doesn't rape children. Congrats, Internet. Just wanted you to know.
Be very bad for Disney since he was in a Disney movie.
Yeah, very bad for everyone because, I genuinely enjoy The Rock.
What can I say? You're welcome.
But The Rock was super excited about the Black Adam movie. It's going to be slated to release December 22nd, 2021.
Yeah, The Rock ain't a bad actor, so I think he's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I was excited about the ancient Egyptian backstory. Although, I wonder if I'm going to be thinking of the Scorpion King then. There'll be some fanfic out there. It'll be like, oh yeah, Black Adam and the Scorpion King were, even though they look the exact same, were secretly lovers. If there isn't a fanfic out there like that, I'm gonna make that fanfic. And in honor of saving the best from last, the best for last, not best from last, Zack Snyder is confirmed to have his Snyder Cut of the Justice League coming out to HBO Max sometime in 2021. Although the release of it's kind of interesting. They will have maybe a 4-episode clip plus a theatrical version.
Yeah, and four episodes, and then each one of those will be an hour long.
I'm intrigued to see the editing on that. I suppose a lot of Netflix shows you can't really tell from one episode to the other. They kind of smoothly transition. But with them saying it like that, it kind of reminds me of like old TV cartoon movies where a studio would be releasing something for a TV movie, so they would have commercial breaks built in. I guess we won't really have that problem, hopefully, with this movie, but that's kind of what that brought to mind.
Well, it's on HBO Max, so you ain't gonna get commercials in the middle of it.
Yeah, that is true. Just from one episode to the other, just kind of a cliffhanger, I guess.
Yeah, it'd probably just be like a simple title, logo kind of thing, and then you go into that and back into the movie.
That'll be interesting to compare them then when they come out.
But yeah, this probably was like my second favorite thing that happened at the DC fandom. Like, as a creator myself, this is great news because Zack Snyder had to leave the project. Then Warner Brothers brought in Joss Whedon and who was the director of Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron. And me, I think, especially the Avengers were really, the reason why it was great is because you had all the Avengers in it. If you go back and really look at the film, it was mediocre. And Age of Ultron, he really tried to do something with it. And there was a lot of potential and there was a lot of great ideas in it. I don't think Josh just did it. And so, and Warner Bros. Being dumb as they are, they're like, oh, well, look at the Disney Marvel films. You're doing so great. Let's go get Dog Acton and have him come in. Because, I think, there was even rumors how Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder wasn't really getting along creatively and stuff. There was a lot of creative differences and stuff, and so they brought in Josh and they redid so much and just completely changed Zack's original ideas and how he wanted the movie, but because I think this was just Hollywood politics. Since he was under contract with it, he still got credit as the director, and Josh got a co-written credit. So Zach got pretty much all the blame for it being so bad. But yeah, and unlike everyone else, I actually enjoyed Batman vs Superman, especially the Ultimate cut, because it wasn't quite the director's cut, but it was the closest thing we're gonna get to the director's cut. It was so much better than the original theater's cut, and so just once again proves that Warner Brothers executives and producers need to just let Zach do what he wants, and it's gonna be good.
Really, all almost executive and producers need to just butt out. Just like what we're reviewing the New Mutants earlier. The theory there that it might be the Disney cut or the original, like you were saying, the original cut that was produced for it. Not necessarily the more horror heavy elements. Just executives get in there and they're like, we'll do whatever is more popular at the time. Do whatever's gonna make us the most money.
Yeah. I think Warner Brothers, can't remember the budget for the Joker, but I'm sure it was pretty low compared to most other superhero movie, because it was more just a regular crime movie or something, a big action superhero movie. It was more of a modern movie, so it wouldn't be all that much.
It's an interesting comparison because the Joker was more of a horror movie than New Mutants in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm sorry for the Zack Snyder and Justice League. I'm a huge fan of Zack Snyder, and so I love the fact that it's gonna be 4 hours long. I was actually talking to a friend just the other day about the Lord of the Rings Stenix cut. Lord of the Rings are already 2-3 hours long. Then you get the extended cut, and that brings up 5 hours long. It's I can't even watch the originals anymore. It's they're just cringy now. Guy had that extra 2 hours. We talking about how I met a lot of people saying that the Hobbits trilogy did not really lead into the Lord of the Rings trilogy very well. I'm yeah, it did. It literally lead right into it. You see Bilbo working on his book, and he gets a knock on the door, and who is it? And then you hear Gandalf. Going to Lord of the Rings, you see Gandalf walking up to Bilbo's house, knocking, and you hear him going, who is it? It's Gandalf. At least, right? And I'm like, oh wait, you guys watched the dumbass theater cut, didn't you? Not the extended cut. Shake my head.
Either that or they're watching the multiple universe conspiracy theory cut.
Another big thing, I'm not sure if you have it on here, is the Batman trailer.
See, it was so awesome that I couldn't bear with my mortal fingers to write about it or even remember it in my head. I have glimpses of greatness in there. See, I just couldn't actually dare speak of it. I am not worthy.
I think Robert Pattinson just proved everyone how great of a Batman he's gonna be, and especially in that one part where he's just sitting there beating the shit out of that one guy, and he's like, "I'm vengeance." And so I just think that was just all the proof that everyone needs to prove to them that you're gonna be a great Batman.
It's going to be a great Batman, and they're actually going to make the Riddler scary.
Mm-hmm.
Scary enough that I'm like, oh, it's the Joker, right? No, for once it's not.
Yeah, I never really was a fan of the Riddler. Like, it just was a computer non who likes riddles and word puzzles and stuff like that, and it's like never really fit in with all the more insane and demented evil people like the Joker and Scarecrow and stuff. He was pretty. I just never understood why he was as popular as most other ones, you know.
Must have just been a lot of fangirls who were into the little tuxedo mask he wore.
Mm-hmm.
Going over, watch Sailor Moon, and then be like, that's the closest thing.
Yeah.
I was never, from what I can remember, his reasoning, which I guess that's more true to life. People don't have a good reason to be a villain, they're just evil. He just seemed petty. You know, everyone else kind of had a reason, even the Joker not having a reason is a reason. They all had an interesting backstory or a reason for doing the things they did, and then you had that guy, and it's like, people piss me off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go kill everyone.
You had to like a lot of people complain about how he's like so emo and like his hair is long, and it's like no, his like a lot of those rich types, they have their hair long but they slick it back. We see in the trailer that he like, because this is where what people talking the scene is when you see the car come through and crash and stuff, and you see him running to save someone to get him out of the way of the runaway car and stuff. So his hair got messed up and stuff, and that's what happens when you're running and stuff. Your hair gets it comes unslick.
In reality.
And then like no part, and everyone said like it's too emo. Is like the black around his eyes. It's like no, all of the Batmans do that. It's like you had to have a big eye open on the mask, and so they can actually see. Because if you just have it really small, it'd be gonna be really hard to see around you, and so you gotta have a big hole, but you can't see the flesh, your own flesh, so you gotta put black around your eye, paint black around your eyes and stuff, so they can blend in with the mask. You just never see them really take off the mask or anything in other movies, or we have, but they don't show the eyes because you just show it, and just like, well, they don't show them going to the bathroom in movies, but they do. They're humans, so they have to go to the bathroom. They just don't show it. So there you go. But yeah, I think people are just trying to find something to hate about because they're going to be so wrong about Robert Pattinson being Batman. And yeah, I always see this meme like, bro, this guy is going to be the new Batman, and it shows, Twilight, him in Twilight, and it's like, no, bro, this guy is going to be Batman. Then it shows all the other like 20 great films that he done that would easily make him the best Batman or Bruce Wayne. Like there was one movie he was in, I can't remember the name of it, where he was a young billionaire, and he like slowly goes insane or something. Can't quite remember. I mean, that's Batman right there. I mean,
pretty much.
Bruce Wayne. But yeah.
Maybe everyone who's upset is the actor plays Dean on Supernatural. Maybe they were all his stands. Or just like, they passed up Dean Winchester. How could they do that?
I think every Batman, everyone hates. Like when Michael Keaton came out, well, everyone hate him because actually he's really a comedian. So how would he ever be a good Batman? And he came out to be everyone's favorite Batman, and like Kevin Conway, he voices in the animated series, and he's not like a big looking guy, like a but everyone loves him. And Christian Bale, like, people kind of got tired of his growling voice in the Dark Knight. He did went a little over top with that, but to me, I think he was a great Batman. And like Ben Affleck, like, even I myself, like, okay, I don't know about this guy, and come out to be like, no, actually, I think he did great. It's the goddamn Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. That's the only thing gonna be said about Zack Snyder Justice League, is that he's still in it. I'm like, everyone else is just fine. I like everyone else. It's just Jesse Eisenberg. Nah.
He was a very Lex Luthor's all. Jesse Eisenberg has a very nervous energy about him. I think of Lex Luthor, I always think of some dude who's just chill. Maybe a little uptight, things don't go his way, but he's certainly not nervous. He's the man.
Yeah, like very calculating, always thinking up the next plan. Really smart. Like Batman, he was always 2 steps ahead of everyone else.
Yep, and he always was really cocky. You never thought he was, he didn't have to. Because Jesse Eisenberg was acting like somebody who was portraying someone who was cocky. Didn't want someone to know his weakness or didn't want to be insecure. But actual Lex Luthor didn't have to be insecure until he gets around with Superman. Then he freaks out.
Like the Riddler, we going back and saying that how he wasn't really all that great of a villain. But I like the new look of him. He looks more demented, and it seems like he's gonna be more of a an actual insane villain this one. So
yeah, I'd like to get little snippets of his backstory or how they're gonna introduce him. Maybe they won't give him a backstory; they'll just throw him in. That's fine too.
Yeah. Well, one thing was interesting, the guy that Batman beats up and he's like, I'm vengeance, his mask, like his face paint, looks a lot like a Joker. But as we know, this is year 2 of Batman, because he's hasn't gotten the bat suit and stuff, so Joker isn't in there yet. I saw some websites and stuff, articles saying that this may be like the Joker game from Batman Beyond, but this is year 2. This is not in the future. But I guess what would make sense would be like they are penguins, because Penguin will be in it, and so they probably Penguin's henchmen. But yeah,
I say the only Joker thing I was thinking of that might sort of fit in that might be the Joker movie that came out, because that was a young Batman, maybe. However you want to look at that, because there's a lot of fan theories and stuff about that was all in the Joker's head. So he was making himself go through the actions at his age. He's not really that old, because he's like 40 in the movie, so by the time Batman's up and running, he'd be like a 60-year-old man.
Yeah.
But would have that whole uprising with people wearing the Joker mask and Joker probably face paint. The clown killer at that point, face paint.
Yeah.
That would be kind of not the best either. I think the director for the Joker was saying that they were trying to get his movie to tie into the larger DC franchise at a point, or to do a sequel and stuff, or have it tie in with a new Batman movie. So I guess we'll have to wait and see on that.
It would be more sense with Batman, because since the Batman, like Ben Affleck's Batman, is pretty old. So, I don't know.
Do you know that the Warren brothers might be the biggest villains? Because poor Bob Greenbelt was unceremoniously fired. It seems kind of blatant that he had promised and listened to fans about getting the Zack Snyder release done, and he had estimated probably around $1 million to get it reproduced, and the price just kept price of production kept rising for HBO Max, and then all of a sudden he's let go. During the whole pandemic thing, it seems pretty crappy.
Yeah, like I said, Warner Brothers is dumb. They got no one else but themselves to blame for them not being as big as the Marvel movies.
Yeah, it's all about inter-organization working together, but and listening to fans even a little bit. Apparently they don't. Executives who do listen to fans, though, can be found in Japan, as both Toei Animation and Kodansha, along with Nippon Animation, Suzuki Productions, and others have teamed up to launch a YouTube channel which will be streaming anime soon, called Anime Log. It is currently available in Japan, but there is word that it will soon be dubbed in both English and Chinese for international release. That'll be pretty awesome. There currently have not been any announcements of a full list of shows coming to the channel, but they do have a lot of smaller titles or more niche titles streaming on those platforms. So,
What titles would some people would know?
Blackjack, one that they have going on.
Mm.
I think they're going to focus more on like the smaller releases versus the big title anime. Eventually, they want to have up to 6,000 titles being released there for streaming, 24-hour streaming.
So it's just on a YouTube channel?
Yep, a YouTube channel called Anime Log.
Oh, I thought it would be like Netflix or Disney Plus and stuff, like their own app or Crunchyroll, really.
Now, apparently, it'll be a YouTube channel for it.
Huh.
Which I guess might, although right now it's only slated for release along with Japan, will be your English and Chinese speaking countries, because I know Kiss Anime has been shut down. That was a big blow for Indonesia and a lot of South Asian countries.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that shut down. 'Cause I Cradle myself, I creates comic books and stuff. I mean, I hate people going in there and stealing my stuff and not getting paid for it, you know?
You know, especially these manga artists that depend. It wasn't just anime shows; it was manga and everything else. They depend on that income and they depend on that popularity from reputable sources so that they can get a serialized anime or something.
Yeah, and it's like I was telling you about that video with them interviewing the young anime artist. She works on what was the new
Boruto,
Boruto.
the Next Generation.
Yeah, and then like she only gets paid $300 a month, and like that has to be, since it's Naruto, it has to be one of the biggest animes out there. I mean,
Yeah.
and for this artist to only be getting this animator to only be getting $300 a month, that's probably because people are stealing it on Kiss Anime and stuff. So
Yeah, animators and what they get paid in Japan's been kind of a hot button issue in early 2020. All that came out about, just the quality of life for those animators. And they do care a lot about what they're doing.
yeah, and I mean, art in general, you have to have like a passion for it. You can't just like wake up one day and like, you know what, I'm gonna be a comic book artist or whatever. I'm like, yeah, you can go and get all the books or get all the YouTube trials and stuff to learn how to draw, and you could do that. But can you do it, I mean, probably a minimum at 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, which is most likely more than that. Like I said, that one artist, she's only getting paid $300, and she works like non-stop.
I think you said she was possibly the director or something of the art, or head of the art.
Maybe lead animator, key animator. But yeah, and then, like I said, as a creator myself, I just very against stuff like that. And like, yeah, I had downloaded stuff before illegally, like like Napster when that came out, and LimeWire and stuff, but I was a dumb kid at that time. It was like 10 or something when that.
Yeah, and there wasn't really the ability to get a lot of that stuff otherwise. And now you have so many apps like Spotify. Something's usually a free trial. Crunchyroll, you can watch that for free technically.
Yeah, you got Pandora, that's free to stuff, and then a lot of the premium stuff are not that much. But
I know a lot of times there's a big debate on piracy because a lot of people will say that's how young people get a hold of it, and then they do turn around and support the creators by buying their, officially licensed merchandise. But that, again, is in the case of maybe a large anime franchise. But for a manga key, all they're going to have is their manga. You're probably not going to have any anime coasters, or t-shirts, or anything else like that for them to go out and purchase. They're just relying on those sales of the manga and for viewership ratings on their anime and stuff.
Yeah, to me, it's just like, how would you feel if someone went into your paycheck, took money out? I mean, exactly what you're doing when you doing illegal downloads or whatever, exactly what's going on. It's like movie, downloading a new movie like the New Mutants off the internet to watch, and it's like those kids who did a good job at acting are not getting paid because you went and stole it because you couldn't pay $10 for a ticket.
Yep, and that's going to hurt them as actors getting new roles in the future because they'll be like, well, not a lot of people saw your movie. It must have been because you did a really shit job. And there's legal sites now like Fandango and stuff like that will have movies, especially the pandemic. A lot of movies that are coming out in theaters you can buy off there, usually for a cheaper price too, I believe.
No, I think usually more.
Is it more?
Well, but Disney, like Mulan, that was supposed to come out here pretty soon in theaters, but they just gonna have it where you can buy it there on Disney Plus, and it's like $30.
Shit.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. Like I wouldn't mind if it's like they say like you can keep it downloaded and keep it for free as long as you at Disney Plus subscribe on. To me, at $30, it should be, even if I wasn't a subscriber on, like if I cancel it after I bought it, I should still be able to at least watch that.
No kidding.
If I bought $40 and still paying, the $6-7 a month for Disney Plus. I mean, come on, Disney. Like, what, you guys second to Apple and the highest, biggest companies ever?
Yeah, if not going over that. Netflix, it's pretty high up there too in large companies. The Witcher for Netflix will be receiving a spin-off series. The story will be exploring the origins of the first Witcher and take place 1,200 years before the Netflix Witcher series takes place. It'll be interesting to see how the story evolves as it has not been explored in the Netflix series, the games, or the books. But there is rumor that the original author of the books is rumored to be a consultant on the project. There still is no word of a release date, so a lot of people are skeptical on whether it'll ever come out or not.
Was this one did it say anything about whether or not it's a live action or an anime? It was like, I thought there was one that was like supposed to have been an anime.
I believe this would be a live action. Okay. So it'd been from the original. It'd been from the people who originally created the live action adaptation.
Okay.
It'll be a spin-off series of that. With original content from the original creator. Hopefully. Although Netflix had such a good reputation for not messing with content, or trying to change it. A lot of times if something changed, like I know the Evangelion series, when it was aired on Netflix, a lot of people were upset because they changed some wordings and some endings, and they thought that Netflix was getting involved in censoring things. But apparently that was the studio who had created the product that Netflix bought the merchandising or the licensing for streaming it, had changed that, not necessarily Netflix. Netflix usually stayed pretty hands off, except for the Avatar series that was supposed to be live action. The creators this past month ended up announcing that they would no longer be working on the franchise. Both Dante and Kimetsu have announced that they are no longer going to have any involvement with the Avatar series. They actually indicated they were both very professional in their letters when they announced that they'd be leaving. However, it really sounded like Netflix had interfered with their creative input and got back on their word. Although they had said that there was a lot of talented people who were still left there working on the project that they had bonded with. So they have hopes that the product will be good, but they don't want their name attached to it because it's not the story that they want to tell. Honestly, that's really disheartening to hear.
Yeah, and like going back to like the Zack Snyder thing, and the original creators create the vision, giving the chance to get the vision out there and the ideas out there. You asked me this like about how hands-on Netflix is about stuff. The way I understand how Netflix does, this is like the dumbest thing ever, is that Netflix will like just greenlight anything. Like hey Netflix, can I do my show on Netflix? Like, yeah, sure, here's millions of dollars. And then they're not hands on, but and they like it comes out and like, okay, that was kind of good, or that just sucked. I think that's why I don't think I can tell you one Netflix original series or anything where the second season was actually good. I think they let the creators do what they wanted in the fall season, and then they come in and like, okay, this is what we want, and then we get a crappy second season. That's why I'm so scared with The Witcher that they doing this season 2 now, and Dark Crystal, they're gonna be doing a second season, and yeah.
Because even the She-Ra wasn't bad, but then again, I don't know for animated series how involved Netflix is. Because She-Ra, they didn't really mess with that to me in the first, second, or third season, and then the Castlevania series also has been pretty good. I don't know how much input they have with those, because they're still advertised as a Netflix original production, correct?
Yeah. Well, I myself kind of thought second season wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either for Castlevania. Like one thing really, Camilla in the fall season, they made it out like she will be the big bad villain in the next one, which they kind of did. But once we got in the second season, she's like, yeah, whatever, do what you want. Like, to her assistants, the other vampire chicks, like, yeah, whatever, you do whatever you want. She kind of became a background character.
Yeah, she did kind of
like,
soften.
It's like, she was being built up to be the next, Dracula and like the next villain, and now nothing. It's like, okay. So
I don't know, I liked Isaac in the second season. Like the constant little thing where he'd be like, I'm gonna kill all humans, and there'd be this one person who's nice to him. So he'd be like, well, okay, maybe not. Maybe I just have to ask people nicely. Hey, can these hordes of demons get through your town safely? No. We're not falling for that trick. Well, never mind. Just kill everyone then.
Mm-hmm.
Except for that one pirate captain, man. He was crazy. He's like, yeah, I'll take you across the sea. That's no problem.
It was pirates. He had money.
Yeah.
So it's pirates. Like, hey, I'd do anything for money.
Like, my whole crew might get eaten. Well, I guess he did say that too. He's like, I mean, if you eat my crew, then you're not going to get across the street either way, so you're screwed.
Yeah, they pretty much have Mexican standoff kind of thing. Like, you kill my guy will kill you, and it's just a back and forth thing.
Yeah, he's like, then you won't know how to sail, and you'll be screwed too. Yeah, I agree. Netflix has a concerning pattern, except for their animation shows, because it doesn't seem to be the same kind of problems that you do with their live action series, where the second season just goes off the rails. They just kind of do what they do with DC and Marvel movies, where they're like, oh, well, this is really popular, we're gonna do this. Yeah. I guess it's more a problem with DC movies instead of Marvel movies.
And plus, like, Netflix will like cancel like good, not great ones, but good shows, and then like renew a season for a crappy show, and it's like, why? That kind of makes me think of it like it's just this one executive's making all the decisions, and maybe not that good, knowledgeable with movies and TV shows, and like what marketable and what's not, profitable, marketable but profitable, whatever. I mean, that's not always the case, but I kind of have an idea what is good and what's not good.
Yeah.
And so, like, I can't remember. There was something just the other day that they canceled that was actually really good. I know they canceled Sabrina.
Did they?
Yeah, the Chilean Adventures of Sabrina.
Didn't even hear about that.
And that one wasn't bad, and maybe it wasn't great, and it did kind of at times like threw in the whole SJW and this stuff in there. But like, for the most part, it wasn't bad at all. And once again, second season kind of sucked, and it kind of got better with season 3. So, but yeah, I just remember that one scene, like her cousin is like got into like the Boys Club there at the Satan's Witches School Academy, and like the principal, Otto Blackwood, even said like, well, if you want to start your own club, you can. There's nothing stopping you. And then like Sabrina's like, no, I want to be in this one. Like, it called the Warlocks Club. You have to be a warlock. Well, that's just sexist. Like, no, like, I told you can go and do your own. And like, yeah, at that point it's like, oh, come on, like, why are you complaining? He told you what you need to do.
Fun fact no one asked for, apparently a warlock. According to the pagan friend I have, a warlock is a derogatory term, because a warlock was somebody who pretended to be a witch during the Crusades to rat out other witches. So they were called a warlock. Fun fact no one asked for, so I throw that in there. Lord of the Rings will be receiving a TV series, and reportedly it'll have some returning characters, although they haven't. The roles would have to be for some of the elven characters.
I think they were gonna have Gladia, or how you say her name, the queen, the elf queen, and Elrond, Lord Elrond, and of course some bad guy.
Sauron?
Yeah, Sauron. TV, and then, but yeah, it was announced a long time ago. Like, it's pretty much like New Mutants. Like, it was announced forever ago, and then no news about it for the longest time. And like a small little, news, like, oh yeah, we got a producer now. Like, wait, shouldn't you had a producer a long time ago? I mean, they're usually the ones that kind of starts it, like gets out and gets to direct on, goes out and gets to write on, and helps. Then they go out and get the other people, and like, and yeah. It sounds like the few people that they didn't announce that is working on the series and stuff. That sound like they will be good because they all came from good, very popular, big other TV series and stuff. So
And filming is currently underway in New Zealand, even amid all the pandemic tomfoolery.
I remember on Graham Norton, a talk show host in Britain. He always interviews a group of celebrities, and there was like one time with Robin Williams, some actress I can't remember who it was, and Elijah Wood, who of course plays Frodo, and Frodo was telling him, or Elijah Wood was telling him that how they left a lot of the sets there in New Zealand, and that now they all like hotels and stuff, and you can stay at, and I'm sure like thousands of dollars probably. But like the Shire is one of them because they made a whole actual town. That whole scene is actually, they went back there to film the Hobbit and stuff, and he was telling like it is a real place, and like no, it's a fantasy world, it's not a real place. He's like, no, like you can stay there, like it's a hotel and stuff. Like Robin Williams telling Graham Norton's like, let the boy dream. If you want to believe it's a real place, it's a real place. And you can just tell, like, look, seeing Elijah's face, like, no, it really is real. You can go there. He's like, I'm telling you this, you can go there. They're just so funny, and they just did not listen to him at all. No, it's just from a book. It's not real, Elijah.
We know you're a big fanboy over the series, but that's not how this works.
Yeah, he said that he'd be very interested to do something with this Lord of the Rings Amazon series.
Yeah, it'd just have to be something organic for the character to show back up in, and wouldn't break the series by having him suddenly show up. And
Well, I think it'd be kind of cool to just have him play as a old relative of his. You know, give him some makeup to make him look old. And like I think Gandalf talked about the guy that ancestor that invented golf or something in the Hobbit.
yeah, it was a brave hobbit.
Yeah, and so maybe he could play that. I mean, I'm sure they would probably kind of look like him.
It'll be interesting seeing how Amazon Prime. I haven't seen any series on Amazon Prime, to tell you the truth.
Well, the few that I have seen, haven't been great. They've been very good. So.
Good. And hopefully Amazon Prime doesn't meddle as much. I know The Boys is supposed to be a pretty good series, and it's coming in for its second season. Which they supposedly, I saw a preview for it. What's that? Yeah, it was in the theater last night that there was the preview for it, and they're talking about how they're really going to up the ante for season 2 and get really bloody and chaotic. And usually it's a good sign if somebody says we get to be bloody and chaotic, because there's not that much meddling from executives. And to wrap it all up, season 2 of The Mandalorian is still on track to be released in October.
Yeah, there's rumors that Luke Skywalker will be in this one, and Ahsoka, I think. Or was that just a rumor that they're going to be a live action TV series? I can't remember.
That would be interesting to see a live action Ahsoka. They should bring Darth Maul back for that. For no fan service reasons whatsoever. Why would that be a fan service request?
But yeah, I really enjoyed the Mandalorian, the fall season. I think the only problem I had was like, because like Jon Favreau, he had done a lot of comedy, and a lot of his friends are comedian, and he cast a lot of these comedians in the Mandalorian. And you know how comedians are, they always have to have a joke, there's always gonna make something funny, and it's like, doesn't really fit the theme. This is supposed to be like a dark, serious, maybe not dark, but serious drama and stuff.
I think that's the tragedy and comedy go hand in hand. That's probably what they're pulling from. But I think that's supposed to be more than something so tragic. It's just funny.
Nah, you just gotta have to watch it. It just comes out kind of bad acting to me, and like some things to me, and this is like, I'm probably the only person in the world, maybe like Greg. You ever met Greg from work? Did you have him?
I've never met the legend Greg.
He came from a background with CGI special effects and stuff, so like he knows this stuff as well, especially him more than me. But like just some of the stuff that, like, it just seemed tight. Like the camera, the field of depth with the camera, it seems a little tight. Like when we go see Tenet, like watch any movie. I'll think of a movie, watch that, and when you go see Tenet, you can just the background, like the feel of depth with the camera, just would be just completely different. Tenet would seem much more wide on and big on, like it would feel much wider on big on.
I
Wow, like, super bad. The comedy both seem very small.
I get what you're saying, because that's, I think I've seen breakdown videos for anime before where they talk about how the way to save on effects too, they just put like one character close up on them instead of showing you a wide shot of everything going on. They'll just film one character kind of thing, or
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, I had to figure out something to show you how I'm thinking of, but it just seems like yeah. It's hard to explain.
yeah, it's something you'll have to see for yourself.
Like there was a scene where it showed helmets from stormtroopers, like they put on spikes. When I first saw that, like I was thinking that it was like toys, like small little toys, but it zoomed out, the camera zoomed out, and it showed, like the Mandalorian walked past him while they as tall as him, and he's like a guy that's like 6 feet tall. So like, it just didn't line up quite right to me. And like I said, I'm guaranteed I'm gonna be the only person that knows that or anything. And the only other thing was like there's like maybe 1 or 2 episodes just kind of felt like there was felt on episodes, like you could have skipped it and still know what the story is all about. It kind of was like, okay, being that it was 10 episodes long, I think it was, and only 30 minutes long, it's like kind of like, well, we got pretty, got the short end of the stick on this, didn't we?
Yeah, that is sad when you have a filler episode that doesn't. Some filler episodes can be done right, where you have at least character building, or at least interesting character interactions, but when there's nothing, it's just like, well, that was a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Boruto. That happens a lot. That's why it's nice to be able to just cram everything, do the, binge watch stuff. Filler episodes don't seem like such a waste of time, but because Mandalorian was released every week, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be annoying then.
I mean, I like it when it's released every week like that. Like Netflix, they release all at once, and you kind of want to watch it all at once, but they kind of make it, whereas like it would be better if you watch it, one here and then a week later watch, but you don't got no self-control to wait.
No. Actually, there was a scientific study that said self-control is a myth, that people who have good self-control, quote-unquote, are people who have no temptations. So they don't have to exercise, quote-unquote, self-control, because there's nothing to tempt them.
But yeah, I'm excited for season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Seems like October is going to be a busy month. There'll be Mandalorian coming out, Maelstrom will be coming out, Demon Slayer will be coming out in Japan. I don't know how quickly it's going to hit US theaters, but a lot of stuff to look forward to.
Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah. October 2nd. It wasn't advertised at all, but yeah. Alright, well, until next time, stay safe, have a good life. Ciao.
Bye.